I'm a Cuban spy here in the US.
2 hours later.
Actually, I'm a double agent. I've been working with the FBI as an informant.
12 seconds later.
At this point, I have no idea. Just you tell me. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to JBuck Studios, your home for reviews, reactions, and ridiculousness. Anyways, though, it is Friday, so you know what that means. Brand new Netflix releases, and I was able to check out the new international film that's also a drama, Wasp Network. Based on a true and gripping story, Cuban spies infiltrate exile groups in the early 1990s to stop terrorism against the island. So is this new Netflix based on a true story movie a must-see? Let's find out. But before I get into my thoughts, let me know what you guys thought of Wasp Network, if you've already seen this one or very much looking forward to seeing this true life story. Now let's get into some of the good. So right off the bat, I think the fact that it's based on a true story is fascinating. I mean, I knew nothing about these agents and double agents and people working for the Colombian government and the government not working for them and working for the FBI as an informant, but actually being a spy. Like, it is very fascinating that in the early 90s with Fidel Castro, Bill Clinton, and some of these other powers, communist powers, also referring to kind of Russian intelligence as well. I liked how they brought all of this together to really kind of almost structured it into like a faux documentary kind of. I mean, it's very educational. It's not like a straight up documentary because it's very much fictionalized in a few parts to make it more exciting, but I do really like that portion of bringing in this true story. And then also some of the talent here is Ana de Armas, Penélope Cruz, oh god, Édgar Ramírez also in this film. I mean, I'm not saying that their performances are bang out, give them a, an award for it, but I did really like their performances because they're very toned down. They set the tone, and I was also like, hey, I know that person. Hey, I know that person. So it was a nice to see some familiar faces on the screen. But getting into the cons or the negatives of Wasp Network, I don't know what the filmmakers were going for in this movie. Honestly, this was a trudge to get through. I mean, it's only about 2 hours, a little over 2 hours, but it is just unbearable to really get through because it is a bunch of ideas thrown at the screen, somehow hunked together into a movie. It's a mess. I'm sorry, but it's a mess because it opens up with this one character, Édgar Ramírez character, going to the US and then bringing in another character, and you're like, oh, these are going to be the central people building up this Wasp Network, and it kind of does, but then it dives into this like exposition heavy voiceover of explaining how the next few years or these people coming in and having informants from the US in Cuba and Cuban residents in the US and FBI, like it gets very muddled very quickly because I didn't know if we were supposed to side with the characters that we have been introduced with, side with the group, side with Cuba, side with the US. It is very mishmash of a mess of what this movie is because it sets up those three characters, it brings in this like exposition heavy like right in the middle of the movie, and then brings in even more characters focusing on this character that is doing bombings in opposition of the first three characters or in tandem with the first three characters. Again, it is a very confusing structure. I'm sure if you watched it or very much paid attention, you could make out what they were trying to say, but it's just confusing, and I think that ties in with the message of what they wanted to tell in this movie because I didn't know if it was sitting with your morals or kind of a message of patriotism. It's very confusing, especially the end where one of the people is in prison and it's like, do I stay faithful to my country? And I think that they were going for a stronger message, obviously educational, kind of knowing what the inner workings of these borderline terrorist groups and spies and informants were going for. But it just feels like it falls in the mess of the rest of the movie. And it's just very, very muddled. I'm sorry, but this is just not a good movie from Netflix at all. Overall, Wasp Network had some great intentions, but gets caught up in the mess of all of the details. With it featuring interesting historical elements with some familiar faces, but with it all being put together in a complete mess and very muddled message, I would stay far away. I would skip out on Wasp Network. I mean, it has those intrigue historical elements in there, but it gets all confusing with these actual characters that we're supposed to care for, but then kind of leaves them by the wayside. In closing, I'm going to give Wasp Network 1 out of 5 wasps. So what did you guys think of Wasp Network? If you've already seen this one or now very much staying far away from it, I want to know in the comments down below. Anyways though, as always, thank you so much for watching. Watch some more videos up there or right over there, you know, brand new content every single week here on the JBuck Studios channel. I think in the next coming days, I might be playing The Last of Us 2. Hopefully we'll see. I don't know what's happening, honestly, but stay tuned for maybe a video or some live gameplay of that. Follow all of my social media down there, like this video, subscribe to the JBuck Studios channel, and until next time, we'll see you later.